I'm doing a little business networking event at my house. These are people in kind of a mastermind that I had going for a while. So I'm gonna talk, answer some questions, changing into the 750 easy boost. Give me a little good luck charm, you know. As Charlie Munger says, if it wasn't for the stupidity of most people, he says he wouldn't be so rich. That's kind of a harsh way to say it. I don't say it quite that harsh, but you probably know where he's coming from.
This is very important. This is somewhat controversial, but I promise you it's the truth, and I can prove it. And I will debate any human being, and I will embarrass them if they want to argue on this in a public live forum. Working hard is very uncorrelated with wealth. Now, just a few examples that are so powerful that the fact that people still try to refute me makes me worry about them as a thinker. The top 10 men in the world make more than the bottom 3.5 billion people combined. Right? That's a fact. You can Google it. 10 men are wealthier, make more, have more to their name than 3.5 billion, half of the world. Now, how hard can 10 men work in one day? Maximum 240 hours, right? How much can 3.5 billion people work if they only work 1 hour a day? 3.5 billion hours. Work is uncorrelated with success. It's sometimes a necessity, just like brushing your teeth is uncorrelated to wealth, even though some wealthy people brush their teeth. People don't understand causation and correlation. So people see that Bill Gates works many hours, but what about, I read that in India there's about, don't quote me, I think 10 million people that work in the dumpsters that pick out trash, small pieces of plastic, and they make on average $14 a month, and they work from dawn to dusk. Are they working harder? Of course they are. America and the world's full of people working 3 times as hard. If I could go back in time, without a doubt, I would tell myself to be lazier. Without a doubt. It is I will tell you, even though I joke about it, true painful realization was the fact that I didn't know what one of my business partners just told me. I was just talking to Alex Marin. He said, he's an engineer, PhD, really smart guy. He said, people don't understand. In engineering, you never confuse input and output. You always try to put the least amount of input to get the most output. That's what technology is. So when you're building a car, you never try to figure out how to put the most gas in to go 100 miles. You try to how to figure out is how do you just put 1 gallon in and the car goes 100 miles. You guys get where I'm coming from? So what happens with entrepreneurs is you start focusing on inputs like, I'm gonna just buy, but you gotta be focused on output. And the amount of, and guys like Warren Buffett, I mean, he says, he loves quoting that one quote. I don't know the exact quote, I should have memorized it, but he goes, they say that hard work won't kill you, but I don't want to take the chance. I think that's how it goes. And he quotes that, and he says, I pretty much sit around all day looking for opportunities. And since 1965, I think, 51 years ago, they've made 25 good decisions that have made almost all their money. So on average, every 2 years, they were able to find, so what he spends all his day doing is reading and looking, being observant. So I do think you have to be aware, but hard work is very uncorrelated with wealth. And it will get you, it's the biggest, so I was talking about, there's a lot of people out there giving business advice about working hard. A lot. There's not one. There's some more than others. But Alex Marin says his theory, he calls it, what did he call it? Little mind theory or ant theory. That basically it's a primitive impulse that if you say to people, you know what, working hard is going to get you far, it jives with our primitive mind because 50,000 years ago it was true. There was no technology. The man who, hunted with a spear, but even then, the one who had a spear versus the one who just used his hands still won. Technology has been beating everything. So what actually is correlated with wealth is using tools before most people are. So you want to look for tools. To me, social media is just a tool, just like a caveman who had his bare hands versus a caveman who came up with his first spear. Or if you study history, you had the Bronze Age and things like that. And during those ages, well, look at the Incas. Have you ever read the story? Not Pizarro, but who was the one who went to the Incas? Not Magellan. Well, one of them, you know, it was what, 30 soldiers that beat 100,000 Native Americans? They had horses and armor, and they decimated a whole, it was like 25 men. That's how, if business is war, right, you want to be like that. Let other people have 100,000 people, and you won't burn yourself out. So who here is feeling a little bit burnt out? Okay, these are signs that you're doing it wrong. And so I wish every time I had like some shock collar on me, that every time in the past that I was like, I'm not making the money I want to make, so I'm going to work harder, like it would have just shocked me, you know? I see that on social media. I mean, I see people posting more than me, starting way before me, and I'm just like, see ya. Tools. But it's not because of me. It's because working smarter always beats working harder.